Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're talking about that beautiful phrase that has ruined the service industry. The customer is always right. Spoiler alert, they're not. They're very, very wrong. Often spectacularly wrong. We asked people who work in customer service to share their most absurd encounters with people who are absolutely convinced they were right. And honestly, these stories make me want to never leave my house. Hit like if you've ever worked retail, subscribe for more, and please, for the love of everything, share your own horror stories in the comments. Let's dive into the madness.
Woman comes to my register with the cart full of groceries. I start scanning, everything's fine until we get to checkout. She hands me a stack of coupons. I'm talking 50, maybe 60 coupons. Okay, fine, that's allowed. Start going through them. First one's expired by 3 years. I politely tell her it's expired. She insists I scan it anyway. I explain that expired coupons don't work in our system, literally cannot process them. She says, and I quote, "Well, that's false advertising. The coupon doesn't say I can't use it after the date." Ma'am, that's exactly what an expiration date means. Next coupon is for a completely different store, like a competitor across town. Point this out, she says coupons should be universal. That's not how any of this works. Third coupon is for a product she didn't buy. It's for cat food. She has no cat food. She says she should get the discount anyway because she's a loyal customer. This goes on for 20 minutes. Every single coupon has an issue, wrong store, wrong product, expired, or just straight up printed from some sketchy website. She demands to speak to my manager. Manager comes over, looks at the coupons, tells her the same thing I did. Woman accuses us of discrimination against coupon users, says she's calling corporate. She leaves behind her full cart of groceries and storms out. I had to restock everything. Frozen items had melted.
Ah, yes, the most persecuted minority in America. Coupon users, truly facing systemic oppression. I love the logic here. The expiration date doesn't say I can't use it after the date. That's the entire purpose of the date, ma'am. And coupons should be universal. You know what? You're right. That Burger King coupon should absolutely work at Taco Bell. It's basically the same food anyway. 20 minutes of this. The employee handled it with more patience than I could ever muster. I'd have just eaten the groceries myself out of spite. Moving on.
Guy comes in wanting to return a laptop. No problem, we have a 30-day return policy. He bought it 6 months ago. I explain it's past our return window. He says that's ridiculous because the laptop doesn't work. Okay, well, if it's defective, that's a warranty issue, not a return. Different process. I ask what's wrong with it. He says it won't turn on. I ask if he's charged it. He looks at me like I'm stupid. Of course I charged it. Can you show me? He pulls it out. Battery's completely dead. I plug it in. Wait a minute. It turns on fine. He says, well, it didn't work at home. I ask if he's been charging it regularly. He says, no, he doesn't believe in keeping electronics plugged in because it wastes electricity. So you just let it die and then got mad it wouldn't turn on? I explain that laptops need to be charged. He says that's a design flaw and he shouldn't have to charge it. Sir, it's battery powered. That's how batteries work. He demands a refund because we sold him a defective product. I explain that not understanding how batteries work doesn't make the product defective. He threatens to leave a bad review. I tell him that's his right. He leaves the laptop on the counter and walks out. Just abandons it. We held it for 90 days per policy. He never came back. We eventually donated it to a school.
I don't believe in keeping electronics plugged in because it wastes electricity. So instead, he wasted an entire laptop. The logic is incredible. This battery-powered device won't work without battery power. This is your fault. And then he just left it there, like a kid abandoning their toy because they broke it. Some student got a free laptop because this guy doesn't understand electricity. That's actually a nice ending. Next story.
Table of 4 comes in. Woman immediately announces she's severely allergic to onions. Life-threatening. Anaphylaxis. Okay, we take allergies very seriously. I alert the kitchen, make sure her meal is prepared separately. No cross-contamination. She orders a burger with everything. I confirm, no onions, and we'll make sure nothing touches onions during prep. Food comes out. Everyone's eating. Everything's fine. Then she asks for ketchup. No problem, I bring ketchup. She starts eating her fries, dipping them in ketchup, happy as can be. Here's the thing, our ketchup has onion powder in it. It's on the ingredients list, on the bottle, right there on the table. I'm watching her eat, waiting for some kind of reaction because she said life-threatening allergy. Nothing. She's fine. Then her friend orders French onion soup. The woman looks at it and says, "Oh, that looks good. Can I have a bite?" I'm sorry, what? She takes a spoonful of French onion soup, the soup that is approximately 40% onions, eats it, compliments it, says she might order it next time. I'm just standing there trying to process this. Finally, I say, very carefully, "I thought you were allergic to onions." She goes, "Oh, I am, but only raw onions. Cooked onions are fine." Ma'am, that's not an allergy. That's a preference. She insists it's an allergy, gets defensive, says I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell her what her allergies are. The kitchen had gone through extensive preparation, used separate equipment. The chef personally oversaw her meal, all because she doesn't like raw onions.
Life-threatening anaphylaxis from raw onions specifically, but onion powder and French onion soup are totally fine. That's not how allergies work. That's not how any of this works. And I know. She's right that servers aren't doctors, but also, if you eat the thing you claim will kill you, maybe you don't have an allergy. The chef's probably in the back like, I sanitized everything for this? This is why restaurants are struggling, because people confuse I don't prefer this with this will send me to the hospital, and staff have to treat every claim like life or death. Next one.
Guy comes in with a phone that won't charge, says he needs it fixed immediately. I take a look. Charging port is full of pocket lint, like completely packed. This is super common. I grab a toothpick, spend 30 seconds cleaning it out. Plug in a charger. Works perfectly. That'll be $15 for the diagnostic fee. He refuses to pay. Says I didn't actually fix anything. I explain that I did. The port was blocked. I cleaned it. Now it works. That's the repair. He says that's not a real repair, that I just poked it with a stick. Yes, that's what the repair was, removing the blockage. He demands I do actual work to justify the fee. I explain the phone is working now. There's no other work to do. He says he could have done that himself. I say, but you didn't. You brought it here. He then says he wants me to check the battery because it's probably damaged. Phone's at 95% battery. Health is rated excellent in the diagnostics. I show him. He says the diagnostic is probably wrong. So you don't trust our diagnostic, but you want us to fix your phone. He then pulls up something on his phone, an article about battery degradation. Starts reading it to me, explaining how phone batteries work. I've been doing this for 6 years. He concludes that I need to replace his battery for free, since I didn't really do anything. I explain that's not happening. He asks for my manager. I own the shop. He leaves a 1-star review saying we're scamming people by pretending to fix phones that aren't broken. His phone was broken. That's why he brought it in. I fixed it. But apparently that doesn't count.
I love when customers do their research. 5 minutes of Googling definitely trumps 6 years of professional experience. The logic here is amazing. My phone doesn't work. You made it work, but that was too easy, so clearly you're scamming me. What did he want? For them to disassemble the entire phone and replace components that don't need replacing? Just to justify $15? And then leaving a review saying they scam people by fixing things too quickly. Yep, that's a new one. Next story.
Woman comes in during morning rush, orders a simple coffee. Great, I love simple. She then proceeds to give me the least simple order in human history. Grande half calf, 1/3 decaf, 2/3 regular, extra hot but not too hot, with room for cream but don't add cream, 2 pumps vanilla but sugar-free, no wait, regular vanilla but only 1.5 pumps, almond milk but if you're out then oat milk but warm it first separately, light ice, no wait, no ice, actually light ice but on the side. I'm writing this down as fast as I can. I read it back to confirm. She says, no, that's not what I said at all. She repeats the order. It's completely different from the first time. I try again, take 5 minutes to get it exactly right, confirm every detail, make the drink exactly as specified. Bring it to her. She takes 1 sip and says, it's wrong. What's wrong with it? It doesn't taste right. I ask what specifically is wrong so I can remake it. She says, it's just not right. You should know what I mean. Ma'am, I'm a barista, not a psychic. She demands I remake it. Okay, fine. What should I change? Make it how I ordered it. I explain that I did. She insists I didn't. I offered to make her something else entirely. She says no, she wants her original order. So I make the exact same drink again. Hand it to her. She tastes it. Perfect. See, that's what I wanted. It's identical to the first one. I made it exactly the same proportions, same temperature, same everything. She leaves happy. I'm left questioning reality.
1.5 pumps of vanilla, not 1, not 2, 1.5 specifically. And then after all that, after the entire novel of specifications, it doesn't taste right, with 0 additional information. You should know what I mean. Yes, of course, the barista should have telepathically connected to your taste preferences during the morning rush. The fact that the second drink was identical and she loved it is honestly the most frustrating part, because now she thinks she was right to complain. Coffee shops don't pay enough for this. Moving on.
Woman comes in with professional camera equipment, tripod, lighting reflector, the works, sets up in the middle of the store and starts taking photos of herself with books. Not buying books, just using them as props. She's posing, changing outfits. Yes, she brought wardrobe changes, rearranging our displays. This goes on for an hour. Other customers can't browse because she's blocking entire sections. I finally approach her, very politely explain that we can't have photo shoots in the store without permission. She says she's an influencer, and this is free advertising for us. I explain that we still need advance notice and permission. She says she has 200,000 followers, so we should be thanking her. Ma'am, you're blocking paying customers and you haven't bought anything. She says she'll feature us on her page. I check her profile while she's talking. She has 3,000 followers, not 200,000. Most of her posts have about 50 likes. I tell her she needs to either make a purchase or leave. She calls me rude, says she's going to expose us for not supporting small creators. We're a small independent bookstore. She's creating content by using our products without paying. She knocks over a display while packing up her equipment, doesn't help clean it up, just leaves. Never tagged us, never posted the photos, but she did leave a review saying we were hostile to content creators.
Free advertising. From someone with 50 likes per post. What an incredible opportunity for this small business. I love the instant inflation of follower count. 3,000 becomes 200,000 real quick when you're trying to get free stuff. And of course she knocked something over. Of course. That's how these stories always end. The review about being hostile to content creators is the chef's kiss. You weren't creating content, ma'am. You were trespassing with props. Next story.
Customer comes to pick up prescription. Antibiotic for an infection. Standard stuff. I give him the medication, explain the instructions, take twice daily with food for 10 days, finish all of them even if he feels better. He looks at the bottle and says, "That's too many pills." I explain that's the full course of treatment prescribed by his doctor. He says he doesn't need that many, he'll just take half. I explain, very carefully, that antibiotics need to be taken as prescribed. Taking less can make the infection worse and contribute to antibiotic resistance. He says doctors always overprescribe to make money. He's done research and knows how much he actually needs. Sir, your doctor went to medical school for 8 years. Your research was Facebook memes. I try to explain again. He cuts me off, says he knows his body better than anyone. Fine, I can't force him, but I have to ask him to sign a waiver acknowledging he received counseling about proper antibiotic use. He refuses to sign, says we're trying to create a paper trail to cover ourselves when he's right. Yes, that's exactly what it is, because you're making a bad decision and we need documentation. He takes the medication and leaves. 2 weeks later, he's back with a different prescription. Stronger antibiotic for the same infection. He picks it up and says the first antibiotic didn't work. I check the notes. He took 4 pills total out of 20 over 3 days. I very calmly explain that's why the infection came back. He says the first antibiotic must have been defective, demands we pay for the new prescription since our faulty medication made him worse. That's not happening. He threatens to report us to the board. The pharmacist, who has heard this entire interaction, comes over and explains in excruciating detail why he's wrong. The customer leaves angry, still convinced he's right.
I know my body better than anyone, including the doctor who examined me and prescribed specific treatment based on the actual infection. The confidence required to take 4 pills and then declare the entire course of antibiotics defective is staggering. And then trying to make the pharmacy pay for the second prescription because you ignored medical advice? That's... I've done research. Translation, I read a Facebook post from someone named Brenda who thinks essential oils cure sepsis. This is why we can't have nice things, like functioning antibiotics. A couple more stories.
Woman comes in to return a dress. It's been worn. Obviously worn. There are stains, it smells like perfume and cigarettes, and the tags are missing. Our return policy requires tags attached and unworn condition. I explain this politely. She says she never wore it. Ma'am, there are visible stains. She looks at the dress like she's seen it for the first time. Those were there when I bought it? No, they weren't. We inspect all items before they go on the floor. She insists the stains were there. I ask if she tried it on before purchasing. She says no. So you bought a stained dress without checking and now you want to return it? She says yes, because it was our fault for selling damaged merchandise. I get my manager. Manager looks at the dress, sees a photo of the customer wearing this exact dress, posted on social media 2 days ago. The post says, "Wore this to Sarah's wedding." Manager shows her the photo. "Is this you?" Customer goes silent. Then, "That's a different dress." It has the same stain, same location, same dress. She changes tactics. says she should be able to return it anyway because she's a loyal customer. Manager explains our policy applies to everyone. Customer demands store credit at minimum. Manager says no. Customer says she's never shopping here again. Promise? She leaves the dress on the counter and walks out. Again. Why do people do this? We couldn't resell it. Had to throw it out.
That's a different dress, with the same stain, in the same spot that I'm wearing in this photo. Different dress. The commitment to the lie, even after being caught, is actually impressive. And those stains were there when I bought it, but you also never wore it. So you noticed the stains but bought it anyway, but also the stains appeared after you never wore it. The logic pretzels people twist themselves into to avoid just admitting they're trying to scam the system. I'm never shopping here again. Good. Thank you. That's actually the goal. Next one.
Guy tries to pay for gas. Card declines. I tell him politely. He tries it again. Declines again. I look at the card. It expired in 2019. It's currently 2024. I point this out. Sir, your card is expired. He looks at me like I'm stupid. It still has money on it. That's not how this works. The card itself is expired. The physical card needs to be renewed. He insists that if there's money in his account, the card should work. I try to explain that banks issue new cards with new expiration dates for security reasons. Old cards stop working. He says that's a scam. Banks trying to steal his money. Sir, they're not stealing your money. They literally sent you a new card. You just have to activate it. He says he never got a new card. I suggest checking his mail or calling his bank. He says he's not going to jump through hoops just to access his own money. Okay, well, you can't pay with this card. Do you have another form of payment? He has cash, pays in cash, but spends 5 minutes ranting about how the banking system is broken. The system isn't broken. You just didn't open your mail for 5 years.
The banking system is broken because this man didn't look at his mailbox since 2019. I love it still has money on it as an argument. Yeah, and I still have food in my fridge, but if I don't open the door, I can't eat it. Jump through hoops. The hoop is opening an envelope and calling a phone number. That's it. That's the hoop. 5 years. The card expired 5 years ago, and only now is it a problem. This man definitely has unopened mail from 2020 about a car warranty. Last story.
Guest books a room for 2 nights. Checks in fine. No issues. Next morning, he comes to the desk at 6 a.m. Says his room is too small. I pull up his reservation. He booked a standard queen room. That's what he got. He says the website showed a bigger room. I show him the website. It clearly shows the room dimensions and photos. He insists those aren't the photos he saw. Okay, well, that's what this room type is. He demands an upgrade. For free, because he's disappointed. We're completely booked. Every room is occupied. I can't move them, even if I wanted to. He says that's unacceptable. Asks what I'm going to do to fix this. Nothing. I can't create rooms that don't exist. He wants a refund then. I explain our cancellation policy. Bookings are non-refundable after check-in. He says that's illegal. It's not. It's in the terms he agreed to when booking. He demands to speak to the manager. Manager isn't in yet. It's 6 a.m. He says he'll wait. Sits in the lobby for 3 hours. Manager arrives at 9. Guest immediately starts complaining. Manager looks at the booking, looks at the room photos, tells him exactly what I said. Guest says we're all incompetent. Manager stays calm, explains there's nothing we can do. Guest demands corporate's number. Manager provides it. Guest calls corporate while standing at the desk. on speakerphone so we can all hear. Corporate tells him the same thing. He hangs up, looks at us like we've personally victimized him. Then he goes back to his room, stays the second night, doesn't check out early or anything. So the room wasn't too small to sleep in, just too small to not complain about. Left a 1-star review saying we refused to help and discriminated against him. Never mentioned what we discriminated against, just that we did.
Waited 3 hours to be told the same thing I told him. That's dedication to being wrong. And calling corporate on speakerphone in the lobby. What was the goal there? To humiliate the staff when corporate sided with him? Surprise! Corporate agreed with the employee following policy. Shocking. But he stayed the second night. The room was unacceptable, too small, worthy of a refund, but not unacceptable enough to leave. The discrimination claim with no details is just perfect. Chef's kiss. No notes. All right, let me wrap this up. So, those were 10 stories from the front lines of customer service. If you've never worked retail, hospitality, food service, any of it, these people exist. They're real, and they're everywhere. The coupon person, the return scammer, the influencer, the expired card guy, all real types of people you will encounter. And the employees dealing with them have to stay polite, professional. Can't tell customers what they're actually thinking, because the customer is always right. Even when they're trying to return a worn dress, even when they don't understand how batteries work, even when they're discriminated against by hotel room dimensions. I think what gets me is the confidence, the absolute certainty that they're right and everyone else is wrong. These are people who will argue with experts, ignore policies they agreed to, and leave 1-star reviews because reality didn't match their expectations. If you work in customer service, you have my respect and my condolences. If you enjoyed these stories, or if they gave you flashbacks to your own retail trauma, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe for more. Share your own customer horror stories in the comments. I want to hear them. And hey, if you're ever the customer in these situations, maybe just don't be. Read the expiration date, accept when you're wrong, tip your server. Be better than these people. The bar is very, very low. Thanks for watching. See you next time.